Welcome to Undrafted Hockey Fan. I am Brad, and today we're going over the Detroit Red Wings prospects game. Well, more the roster for the prospect games roster. We've got a lot of guys we're already going to know. I'm going to run through some stats real quick and just kind of talk about them a little bit. And there's some guys that we don't know yet because they are either undrafted or not able to be drafted yet, or they're going to be drafted eventually, or they're just not. They are trying to prove that they need a contract. But a lot of these guys are 18 years old. And so that are just invitees to say, hey, come check it out, come play. They're either high-level skill players or guys that the Red Wings are trying to look at a little bit. So let's go over it. I'll just show you the list real quick so that you can see it as well if you're watching on YouTube. By the way, if you're watching, hit like, subscribe, man. Like I said, or ladies. We love the ladies too. It was that Ashby. We love the ladies. And so, anyways, this is the prospects game roster. Just to run through the forwards real quick. Again, we're going to go through them all. Actually, I'm not even going to list them out because we're going to go through them all. So don't you worry about it, boys and girls. So anyways, let's run through this list real quick. I'm going to start talking about some of these guys too. We have Michael Branson-Nygaard. He was a first-round pick in 2020. I want to say 20. Oh, actually, I should say it. Wow, never mind. Screw this. He was 2024. 2024 was 2023 because Nate Danielson and Axel Sandin Pellick are 2024, and then Carter Bear was in 2025. First round picks. Gotcha. Michael Branson Nygaard, he played last season in the SHL for Skellefteå, and he played 42 games and only had 11 points. It was a bit of a down year for this guy. But to me, with the game that he plays, he did heat up in the actual games and everything near the second half of the season. Started to produce a little bit better. Again, definitely a down year from a guy who's a first round pick. Not saying he's a bust or anything. Definitely not saying that. But this guy, I mean, he has a good frame. He's 207 pounds. One of the heavier guys that the Red Wings have signed who's young, 6'1". And so to me, this is a guy that he can play that grindy role. And then I think this would be a great guy. This is definitely not an opportunity, but he's currently gonna play in the AHL next year with the Grand Rapids Griffins. And so to me, I believe that this guy, I think he can honestly, he's a dark horse to make the Red Wings as a top line center or top left winger. Definitely don't think it's gonna be a good opportunity, but just this is an option. It's a very dark horse. I think they're going to go to James Van Riemsdyk or Carter Bear, or Carter Mazer, just because he's a little more bump and grind. But those are the types of players that the Red Wings need in the top line because you have Dylan Larkin, who's already going to be in front of the net, very high skill player. You have a Lucas Raymond, who's a pass heavy guy. So to me, Branson Nygaard is an opportunity there. And I'm just saying there's an opportunity, and that's what they probably want to mold his game into, because I think he needs to get in the dirty areas, and he's big enough to be able to do that. Talk about Nate Danielson. And this was a really big concern for a lot of people because you're like, this guy played in the AHL. Why is he going to prospect camp? I think, and he played really well. He had 39 points, 71 games, which was actually a better production than Marco Kasper had in the AHL last year. And of course, this past year, in 24-25, Marco Kasper started in the AHL, and then he came up to the NHL and just played phenomenally. It was up for the Calder and everything. And so the expectations that Nate Danielson, because he had a better year than Kasper, is that he would break onto the roster this year. So you're like, hey, this guy might be playing in the NHL this year. Why are we putting him in a prospect game where he should just dominate? I think what the Red Wings are trying to do is they're trying to get more looks at him, and with the expectation that this guy should dominate. He absolutely should dominate this. He's going to be your first line center for against the Texas Stars. Or whatever, the Dallas Stars proxy game. And to me, this guy better dominate and really show that he deserves a spot on the NHL roster. He can honestly kick out Cop or Comfer for that third. I think it's going to be Cop for that third line center spot, which would be a phenomenal ad right there, right? And he has a high level talent. And he's a little bit overager, right? So he's starting to develop. He's already 21. He just turned 21. He's 6'2". He's 187 pounds. So to me, I think he needs to put a little more weight on, but this is a guy that can start to learn in the NHL. I think he might start in the AHL, but this guy has a real opportunity to break onto the NHL roster and maybe kick a guy out. And this guy, let's say Carter Mazer and Nate Danielson come. Well, now you're starting to get to fill the roster a little bit. Maybe you waive Justin Hall. Maybe you trade Jonathan Berggren. These are the types of moves you start to see to make room for guys who are rookies who can make this team pretty exciting. Mind you, you don't want to get too young, but it's an opportunity. Carter Bear is another one that just recently signed as well. Let me find this guy, Carter Bear. So, and this guy, by the way, he's just about to turn 19, first round pick in 2025. Just signed his ELC, 82 points in 56 games in the WHL for the Everett Silvertips. This guy did a phenomenal job, almost a point and a half a game. Great grinder player, tough to play against. He's not usually an instigator for fights, but he can be, right? But he will absolutely fight your guys. He'll hit. Like I said, he's a rough and tumble guy. And again, another guy that dark horse, not this year probably, but could be playing in the could be that top left winger spot. Like this is another guy that can fight for it. Again, there's so many options, right? It could be a Soderblom. It could be James Enri's, like Carter Mazer, Carter Bear, Michael Nygaard. And this is the issue that the Red Wings have, is that they don't have a player. They don't have a guy for that spot. So we have to speculate on all these guys. But again, the expectation that Carter Bear would break out. He was just drafted this past June, July this year. It's very unlikely that this guy would be picked to play this year, 13th overall. It's not impossible, and it has happened. But guys typically don't immediately jump to the NHL unless they're a top 3 draft pick from that year. So I likely don't see that. Maybe he goes to the WHL. Maybe he goes to the AHL. There's a weird rule with young kids in the WHL and the CHL. So I'm unsure where he's going to play next year. But no, he's loaned. Oh, he's loaned. So he's been loaned to the Everest. So he'll be playing in WHL again. Again, we're looking to this guy to just dominate. That's all we're asking. So Andre Beecher. So Andre Beecher was a second-round pick, or second or third-round pick a couple years ago, and this guy played really well with the 8 in the AHL with the Griffins. 59 games played, 20 points, 10 goals, 10 assists. Again, another grinder, left shot. He can play wing. He can play center. He's 21 and a half years old. So this is a guy that he again, another grinder. These are these depth guys that you're looking to replace on the wings and everything. The wings of the wings. So these are going to be your bottom 6 guys. Maybe a middle 6 if it ends up happening, right? Guys like Kane aren't going to be around forever. DeBrincat, he might be moved up to the top line. We'll see. But there's a lot of good grinding from a guy like Andre Beecher. We're expected to see him break out more in the AHL and start to really solidify himself and get a spot. So it'll be really exciting to see how he grows this year. And by the way, if you haven't checked out, I just did a podcast with the Grand Rapids Griffins pipeline. And so we just did a podcast of talking about some of their players and everything. And I think it was Edwards, Traulmarks. Who else was it? A couple goalies, and again, just check it out. They do a great job with these Griffins players and these prospect guys. So honestly, great podcast. Go check them out. And I was on it, so you want to check me out because you listen to me anyways. So talking about moving on, Emmett Finney. Emmett Finney was this guy 7th round pick. This guy came out of nowhere, 6'1", 190 pounds, just turned 20 years old. This guy back in the WHL with Kamloops Blazers, captain, by the way, had 84 points, 55 games. A point and a half a game player, right? This guy's a 7th round pick. This guy came out of nowhere. It was like, you're great. I think he was 2024. They signed him immediately. He came up and played in the AHL. From what I've heard, he looked good. And so we like that. We like to see that. And again, this is a guy, again, grinder. Love these guys just able to produce in these bottom. One has a leadership role, being the captain, but also be able to grind and everything in these bottom 6s and everything. So I'm excited about him. He's kind of like, I always like the guys in like the 5th, 6th, and 7th round. I always like to see those because it's just like, it's exciting to see these young guys just like, I was doubted because I was picked in these later rounds, but it's like, I came and I conquered. It's like, it just makes it way more fun. So I just want to talk about that. So Kevin Bicker, this is a guy that played out of the DHL last year, which is the German league. He only played 20 games last year. Looks like he got hurt. Only 5 points in 20 games. But this guy, 6'1", still 20 and a half years old. It's a 5th round pick. Worth a shot, right? Bring him in. He's a guy that started to show some promise. So again, why not bring him in? Check him out. Alexander Doucette. Love this because Alexander Doucette just let me see. Look it up real quick. Doucette. Oh, he had 21 points in 64 games. He was signed out of the QMJHL, and this guy and the reason the Red Wings signed this guy to a deal is because this guy lit it up at one point. And so you really want to see what this guy has. He's in the last year of his ELC, And I wanted to show you what his stats were. He had a crazy amount of points. So in the QMJHL, 62 points in 36 games. Sorry, he had 53 points in 34 games. Then he got traded, and he had 62 points in 36 games. This guy producing almost 2 points a game, or 1.7 points a game. It was phenomenal. So you want to see this. He lit it up in the ECHL with the Toledo Walleye, 41 points, 52 games. Love to see that. You want to just continue to see that progression. 21 points in 64 games. Does he break the NHL? Probably not, but it is cool to see a guy like this just show up and everything. So we have Carson Bansel. And so Carson Bansel is actually signed to a AHL contract. He'll be down in the AHL. He was originally a 5th-round draft pick. He's 23 years old. So again, a little older guy, but last year he did play with the Griffins. He had 1 point in 23 games. They ended up sending him down to the ECHL to play for the Toledo Walleye. He had 21 goals in 39 games. So he had over half a goal per game, right? So he had 29 points in 39 games. Again, this guy was just lighting up in the goals. And the thing is the hardest thing to do in the NHL is score goals. So it was great to see him kind of put up a good in the ECHL. But again, we want to see that in the AHL, which is where he'll be playing next year. So this would be a good little bit. You want to get eyes on these guys and see where they're at. Again, a little bit older, but you want to see where these guys are at. We're moving on to Liam Kilfoyle. He's going to be playing with the Halifax Mooseheads in the QMJHL. 18 years old. This is a guy that, again, Red Wings can't sign him yet. But I just want to read his elite prospects, just to give you guys a little bit of a summary about who he is. Kilfoyle makes quick give and goes off the rush and drives ahead as F1 as a forward one to push back defenders. He uses the back layers of the attack as well as fills gaps in the opposition's coverage in his team's attacks. He supports teammates on the wall at the right time, jumping on vulnerable opponents or loose pucks, and he back checks and forward checks with intensity. Sounds like an Eisman guy, just a hardworking guy that's going to grind and everything. Not grind, but like Eisman likes the guys with high compete, and this absolutely sounds like a high compete guy. 46 points in 62 games. And again, Warren A., an alternate captain for the Halifax Mooseheads. This is an Eisman guy. Again, he can't be drafted yet, but this is a guy they want to get a look at. And like I said, he'll be playing the QMJHL, so they'll be able to see a little bit of him when they're doing their scouting reports and everything. Vincent Collier. Let me pull up his as well. So last year, they actually saw a bunch of this guy. He's 20 years old, plays center. I don't think he can be drafted yet because you have to have 3 years of being able to be drafted. So 18, 19, 20 years old. So next year he can be drafted in the 2026 draft. And then after that, he can just sign it as a free agent anywhere if he doesn't get drafted. They saw a lot of this guy with the Montreal Wildcats because you had a goalie who will be at this game, Rudy Gaumond, who played for the Montreal Wildcats. So they saw a lot of this guy last year, 52 points, 64 games. Mind you, the QMJHL is a higher scoring league. Defense is optional in those cases. Again, this guy plays center. He's 6'3", right-hand shot. Love to see that. Again, he'll be playing in the QMJHL again for the Blainesville Bois Brand Armada. Goodness gracious, French is freak. So I'd like to see that from this guy. Vincent, I'm excited to see you. Hopefully you get drafted. If not, hey, have a great season, man. Florent Hull. Again, another QMJHL. That's a lot of QMJHL guys. 34 points, 61 games. He's, again, another 18-year-old, 6-foot right-hander, right shot. Again, this guy can't be drafted. He can enter the draft, I'm sure, this upcoming year. But the Red Wings want to get eyes on this guy because, again, they're trying to find out these QMJHL guys. They're trying to find guys and diamonds in the rough. Maybe you draft them in later rounds. But we will see. I'm curious on how he ends up working out. Just reading his prospect profile, which I forgot to do for the last one for Vincent and Liam. But who's a forward who can do a little bit of everything while being a thorn in defenders' sides. Again, another Eisman type. Skates through opponent's hands, gets to loose pucks first, then initiates a chain of cutbacks to shield it until he finds a way off the wall to the inside. His ability in tight spaces make him hard to pin as he can go heel to heel, drop low to absorb contact, and slip passes his teammates out of traffic. That's a pretty good. I mean, again, these guys are all sound good, right? Because you got guys that are trying to hype him up. But again, I think that sounds good. It sounds like a really good, quick off his feet kind of guy. And how tall is he? Yeah, 6 foot. So he's not small, but he's 18. He may grow another inch or two. We might see that. So good luck to you, Florent Houle. Jacob Rivlovsky. This is a guy that the Red Wings pulled out of the, I forget which, I think it was the Czech League. He's 24 years old, signed to a 2-year deal. With the Grand Rapids Griffins, he had 8 points in 38 games. To me, in my opinion, they're giving him a look, but I don't think he ends up working out. I think he ends up walking next year and goes back to Europe. But again, it's cool to get another guy, like get eyes on a guy like this. And I'm just really curious on what ends up happening with Rivlovsky. Again, does he work out long term? Probably not, but it's not a big deal. So last one of the 4 group, and then we'll take a break, is Graydon Robertson Palmer, 5'11", 196 pounds, so a big boy for his size, 18 years old. This guy was drafted out of high school, by the way, 7th round pick in 2025, 204th overall. So he was passed over by 203 players were passed over by him. But I'll tell you why the Red Wings decided to sign this guy or draft this guy. And the USHL, right, or USHS, again, high school, he got 39 points in 30 games with the Phillips Academy Andover. So, and then again in a tournament at U18 AAA, he had 23 points in 24 games. Love to see that. And this guy is I think this guy is going to end up breaking out really well. A lot of eyes are on him, a lot of good highlights from him as well. He's really aggressive and everything. And again, high compete, that is exactly what you want to see from guys. Oh my God, he was born in 2007, which is crazy. That was almost the year I graduated. Holy smoke. So anyways, we're going to take a quick break and we'll knock out the defense and goalies. Again, we're going to have a lot more guys that are invites in this case because Red Wings have a bit more forwards than they do defensemen. So stay tuned after this, right after to hear from the DraftKings. See you soon. Your season, your shot. The NFL season is rolling. Every touchdown can bring you closer to a payout with DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. From first touchdown scorers to anytime TD props or the thrill of live game-in betting, every snap is loaded with opportunity. And I'm telling you, Detroit Lions, they had a bad week. They had a bad first week against the Packers. But I have faith. I have the faith that they will go all the way and they will take on the Super Bowl. It'll be a tough year. It takes a little bit of coordinating. Coordinating, get it? But I think my money's on I'm not saying to put money on it. I'm saying that if you're gonna put money on it, I'm saying Lions, they're gonna have great odds to make the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. Go. Don't talk about the Packers. Don't talk about the Packers or Micah Parsons. I don't want to talk about it. But if you are looking to put money on it, do Detroit Lions. And for new customers, this one's for you. Bet just $5 and you can get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Plus, score over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use the code THPN. That's code THPN to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you place your first $5 bet. Plus, over $200 off NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV. In partnership with DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In New York, call 877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY 467-369. In Connecticut, help is available for problem gambling. Call 888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org. Please play responsibly. On behalf of Boot Hill Casino and Resort in Kansas, fees may apply in Illinois. 21 and over. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction. Void in Ontario. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. See sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos. NFL Sunday Ticket offer for new subscribers only and auto renews until canceled. Digital games and commercial use excluded. Restrictions apply. Additional NFL Sunday Ticket terms at youtube.com/go/NFL Sunday Ticket/terms. Limited time offer.
And we are back talking about the Detroit Red Wings. So we did all the forwards already. We're now doing the defense, talking about Shai Buium. Shai Buium played in the AHL last year. Let me pull up his stats, baby, right here. So again, he played in the AHL last year. He had 67 games and he had 25 points, which is a good production for a guy like this. So mind you, if you're looking at the defense and who's playing majority of minutes and everything, you have Shai Buium, a left shot defenseman, Antetokounmpo Misto, and William Wallander, a left-handed defenseman. So these guys are all fighting out for these spots, and these are some big defenses, by the way. So Shai Buium is 6'3". The Red Wings want to see more out of him. He is 22 and a half years old. So it's kind of hey, you're a left shot defenseman. Are you going to break into the NHL? He's 220 pounds. And mind you, he's the brother of William, who plays in the Minnesota Wild. He's a prospect, one of the most highly touted Minnesota Wild prospects, one of the most highly touted defenseman prospects coming into the NHL. So again, you like to see Shai William really break out, really take on that power play one role, and just really show his stuff. And again, I think I really like that he's going to be playing there. I think it's going to be, again, it'll be I really want to see him break out. I think you think consider like, hey, he's the brother, right? Like it's like the Svechnikov brothers. Like the Red Wings had Evgeny Svechnikov, and there's a Svechnikov in Carolina. You're like, there's got to be some correlation, right, guys? And so hopefully we see more of him and everything, and see that he breaks out into even a bigger role in the SH or in the AHL. He was second in points for the Griffins on the defense. So look at that. Moving on, we have Axel Sandin Pellikka. This guy, he's 5'11", small for a defenseman, right-handed shot, 20 years old, 29 points in 46 games. He's just a gem, man. This guy has won so many different awards and everything in the SHL. Again, 29 points. This guy is a power play master. He'll absolutely be making Red Wings. He's honestly probably the Red Wings' top prospect as well. Going over to, I want to try see if I can find his accomplishments, and it is not shown on Puckpedia, but he has won a ton of awards. Like the World Juniors, he's been putting up points. So I'm gonna real quick in the World Juniors for Sweden, he had in the U20, he had 6 points in 7 games. This guy again in the World Juniors U18s for Sweden, he had 11 points in 7 games. Again, just this guy's a monster when it comes to international play. He will absolutely be on the Red Wings roster. Not next year. He ended up playing a couple of games in Detroit, and the pace is different in the AHL, right? SHL, the rink's wider, so he has a lot more time and everything and more space to kind of zip around guys. In the AHL, the rinks are smaller, so the guys are bigger. So you have to consider that a smaller guy like this has to either start to bulk up or really learn how to play the game a little bit better. But again, there's no doubt this guy's going to be an absolute stud, an absolute star. There are talks about him being having the ceiling of like an Erik Karlsson, but even better defensively. So would love to see that from him. I'm moving on to Carl Otto Magnuson. This guy was cool. So this is a guy that the Red Wings, there's a lot of talk about him that he should have been drafted. He is 223 pounds, 6'7", left-handed shot defenseman. So this guy is a more defensive defenseman. This guy he played with the J20. He had 8 points. So this is the junior national in Sweden. He had 44 games played, 8 points. And again, three games up in the SHL, so that's good to see. He will play with the Monte Cat Wildcats in the QMJHL, which means the Red Wings will get a ton of looks with him as well. Again, all these QMJHL guys coming. Just to talk about him real quick, on Elite Prospects, every time Magnuson steps onto the ice, he has a big size, strength, and length advantage against almost anyone. When an attacker thinks that they can beat him off the rush, Magnuson is still able to recover and get his stick in the way to interrupt the shot. While he can still afford to get meaner, he's already a tough customer to deal with along the boards at the net front, capable of bowling smaller opponents with sheer physicality. Again, great defense. I mean, this guy, I don't know if I spent a second-round pick on this guy. I don't know what his production looks like, but like worth it. To me, absolutely worth it. 6'7", that's a bet you want to take, absolutely. Moving on to Jacob Truscott. This guy, the Red Wings actually saw quite a bit of him. He played at the University of Michigan. He was the captain for the last 2 years, 16 points, 36 games. Not really lighting it up a ton. He does have an AHL contract with the Grand Rapids Griffins. He was actually a 5th-round pick back in 2020 for the Vancouver Canucks. He's 23 years old. Again, this guy, it's more of an AHL look. He doesn't have a Red Wings contract. He has an AHL contract. But he'll be down there. It'd be cool to see him. He's like 23 years old, probably more of just like an AHL guy. But talking about he's also got 2 brothers as well through Elite Prospects. But Elite Prospects says Truscott uses great edge work and mobility to find great passing options and exits from his own end of the ice. One can take solace in the fact that Truscott is a technically skilled passer who can thread the needle in all 3 zones, even if he doesn't have the leverage that often enough to be an impact player. Proof of concept still exists. And again, this guy's a left-handed D, 6'1". I mean, he's a player for the AHL. Great. Awesome. Not too mad about it at all. So, I mean, he is another guy that you can get another look on. Moving on to Justice Christensen. And this guy, I just watched a video of this, and this is very funny. This guy named Geo, I forget, it's like Lego Rocks on YouTube. He talks about this guy, Justice Christensen. And I was like, oh, interesting. And like he had Red Wings markers on it and everything. I was like, I don't think Red Wings drafted a Justice Christensen. Did they? And he's a 20-year-old, 5'9", he's right-handed shot D. And you're like, okay, this prospect. So I was like, I would learn more about him. I hadn't heard about him. 46 points in 68 games with the Prince Albert Raiders. He was a captain. Great production for, like I said, a D. That's phenomenal in the WHL and everything. They're like, so why are they talking about him so much? This because this guy is a ball hockey champion. He won like a ball hockey league champion, international competition for Canada. I mean, cool. He's 5'9", a right-handed shot defenseman. He will be playing in the University of Nebraska Omaha in the NCAA next year. So hopefully the Red Wings can keep an eye on him. Again, going to the college, playing a little bit harder competition than the WHL. Let's see if he can keep his production up in the NCAA. But definitely keep your eyes on him. But it's a fun little factoid for Justice Christensen. Moving on to Maxime Dirakolo. Maxime Dirakolo. This guy is a 6'4" 19 years old, 216 pounds. Goodness gracious, this guy is a monster. Last year he played in the OHL with the Kitchener Rangers. So more of a defensive defenseman. Looks like it says Maxime wants to create on every touch. He uses his space up top, hits a cross-slot pass after walking into space, and never takes the easy way out on breakouts. So back in 2024, doesn't say where he's going to be playing next year, but again, with the Kitchener Rangers, 11 points, 65 games, not a great production. But again, he's 6'4", D. You take a shot in this guy. You got this guy, you get a 5th or 6th round pick, bring him in. You know what you got, and this is why they're bringing him into the prospect tournament. Maybe one of these guys gets a deal. Highly unlikely, but it would be definitely cool to see. Moving on to Wyatt Kennedy. This guy played in the Northern Bay Battalion, the OHL, 11 points in 36 games. He is a right-handed D. Again, big guy. Red Wings are just looking at these guys. He's 6'5". Again, not a highly high-level defenseman. 11 points in 36 games. Oh, so he actually 11 points in 36 games and then was traded to the Windsor Spitfires and had 9 points in 29 games. So a little bit better production. So very similar, though. But based on the prospects, they don't even have a spot for it. They don't have anything written about him. That's how under the radar this guy is. So it'll be interesting to see. He's 20 years old. So I think the Red Wings are just going to keep an eye on him, I guess, because he played with the Spitfire last year. I'm curious where he's going to play next year. But again, these are guys that, hey, maybe the Red Wings decide to sign to an AHL contract or they bring him to ECHL. I mean, again, these guys are willing to take a flyer on. Again, 6'5" defenseman, right, shoots right-handed. Not bad at all. Take a flyer, guys, And last one is Will Murphy. This guy was a 6th round pick in 2025 by the Red Wings. He's a 6'4" left-handed defenseman. Isn't it interesting? Red Wings are just kind of picking up. It's funny. It feels like Yzerman has a type. He has smaller skilled forwards and just massive defensemen. Look at Edmonton. Look at Moritz Seider. I mean, even the guys like Tuomista, Wallinder, Shaibuiam, all like 6'2", 6'3", 6'4". So with Will Murphy, he will play. He again drafted the Red Wings and everything. He played with the Cape Breton Eagles, 4 points in 54 games. He'll play with them again in the QMJHL. It says Will Murphy can ram through opponents. At 6'4", the defenseman has range and strength needed to work. It has the range and strength needed to work the boards and protect high danger areas. He uses his stick to deny space, push opponents wide, and then finishes them by immobilizing them. He knows his role inside a team and isn't afraid to use his stature to intimidate. Again, 6'4", you take a flyer on this guy. He's 18 years old. He might even get bigger at this point, which would be nuts. And so I'm really curious on how this guy just continues to just produce and just keep an eye on him, honestly. This is very exciting. So we'll just keep an eye on him. Lastly, moving on to the goalies, we have Landon Miller talking about him. This guy was a draft pick a bit ago. He was a 2024 fourth round draft pick. This guy is 6'5", and again, you just sign guys. You just bring in guys that are just massive, and then you're like, hey, maybe they develop some skill as well. But this guy had 37 games, played it with the Sioux Greyhounds in the OHL. He did not have a great season. He had 4 goals against, an 8.77 save percentage, so not like the greatest hallmark of a season. But again, I don't know enough of the Sioux Greyhounds and how they played last year. So I'd be curious if those are a little bit skewed. He did have 13 wins and 17 losses. So, it was under 50%, but again, I don't know how well they played last year, but I'd be curious to see him produce or play this up and coming tournament and everything. So moving on we have Rudy Guimond. This guy was a 2023 6th round pick, 169th overall. Again, we talked about him a little bit with a couple of the prospects. He's playing for the Moncton Wildcats in the QMJHL. He had this is a crazy stat. 16 games, 16 wins. This guy was a monster. Again, this guy is 6'3". Oh, he's just turned 20 years old. Well, mind you, Landon Miller is not even 20 years old. He's 17 and a half. So this guy has tons of time to develop. Not too worried about it. Again, goalies take a ton of time. Not too worried about it. Don't worry about it. He's 6'5". Again, it's okay. It's going to take time. No big deal. Rudy Guimond is a year older, 16 games played, 16 wins. Goals against average, 1.73. That is so low. If you're anywhere in the 2.5 or lower, you're doing pretty good. If you're in like the 225, you're doing phenomenal. If you're at 2, you're an all-star. And at 1.73 the goals against, he is not letting anything in. He's a brick freaking wall. 9.4 save percentage again in the 16 wins. Great. And this is again with the Montreal Wildcats in the QMJHL. Especially for the QMJHL, which is just such a high scoring league. This guy had great numbers. So I'm excited to see him play. It'll be very fun. And then Michael Pradell, the 3rd round pick from 2025 this year. Good pickup by the Red Wings, 6'5" goalie, just turned 18 and a half years old. Did not have a great season. So this is the difference. He Team Slovakia he played. Let me actually pull up his stats because these I don't like the stats that the Puckpedia is producing right now. I guess all he has. So in the USHL with the Tri-City Storm, 14 games played, 241 save goals against, and 899 save percentage. So just under 900. Not amazing. Not like running home. Mind you, this guy is only 18. Right, so you have to consider, hey, it takes a little bit of time, no big deal. And then in Slovakia, he had 7 games played in the World Junior 18, U18 World Juniors. 7 games played, 2.46 goals against average. That's very good for a goalie. Again, we talked about being under 2.5, and then 914 save percentage. That is very, very good. He definitely got some good looks there, and so we'll see how this ends to work out. There's actually a lot of talks that this was a really good pickup for the Red Wings as a prospect from the goalies. So again, they're just building that pipeline. Of course, they already have Trey Augustine. They have Kosa as well. So we're just excited to see how these guys continue to grow in their positions and everything. You have Carter Gylander. You have Mikhail Prostava. They signed him recently to an RFA deal. That'd be interesting. And then again, of course, Kosa as well. So who played a game this past season with the Red Wings. So anyways, that is the list of players and everything. Let me know what your thoughts are, because I'm curious, because this is fun. Like it's a cool little, it's fun thing to go over, right? Because I'm learning more about these guys as well. So I'm glad we get to do it together and everything. So let me know what your thoughts are. Hit like, subscribe. We'll put out some shorts of these guys and everything, and I'm excited to continue to watch the game this month. When is this? Let's look it up real quick. Detroit Red Wings prospect game, because I swear I think it's this week. It's upcoming week. It is September 13th. Oh, we are coming up on it. So it's very exciting. And again, there's 24 recent draft picks, free agent signees, and tryouts. So this would be a great little setup for these guys. Again, we have they're versing the Dallas Stars prospect pool. So we will see them. They're going to be playing Saturday at 8 p.m. Against Dallas. And then And then they're playing Sunday as well against Dallas down in Texas. So definitely stay tuned to that. It'll be a live stream through the Detroit Red Wings app. And so go check it out. I'll definitely check it out this weekend. So love you guys. Catch you in the next one. Peace and bye.